And we thank Hashem that we're able to learn every day. It's chus of our learning. We should have the Beis Hamikdash immediately. Okay, today we're going to start Samach Aleph Amud Beis, the last line. Today we'll do Samach Beis, B'ezras Hashem. So it says over here, Talmidim Yetzim LaTalmud. It says that students are allowed to go off to study without permission from their wives, but they're allowed to go only for 1 month. Gemara says, Bershus Kama. If they do have permission, hey, you coming to the share? Oh, wow. Beautiful. If they do have permission, so how long are they allowed to go for? The Gemara is like a little surprised about that question. It's like, well, Kama Dabai, however long they want to go, however long they need. You know, I guess however long the permission was granted, whatever they made up. The Gemara says, Orcha de Milsakam. No, the Gemara is asking, what is considered derech eretz? You want to get a Gemara? Down over there is a, you see the blue, go over another bookcase, there. We're on the top of Samach Beis. So the Gemara is saying, Orcha de Milsakam. What would be considered derech eretz? How long a person should go away to yeshiva? Rav says chaydesh kan v'chaydesh bebayis would be appropriate, which means that even if the wife gives permission for more than this, but he should not do that, because what would be appropriate would be that he should be home for 1 month, and he could go to yeshiva for 1 month. So 1 month in, 1 month in yeshiva. So it would be. Shenemar, we quote a pasuk. L'chol devar machlokes haba v'ayetzes chedesh b'chedesh l'chol chodshei hashana. It's talking about the divisions, the people that were working for David HaMelech. So they would go for 1 month and they would come home for 1 month. Go to work and come home. I guess that's how the rotations were. Okay, you'll see. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chedesh Kan v'shnayim bebeis. Rabbi Yochanan says no. 1 month at the yeshiva. He calls it Kan here. Rabbi Yochanan has the yeshiva. There's 1 month here, in 2 months you should be home. This is we jump a generation here. This is Shlomo HaMelech. His labor, the laborers had like a labor tax that they actually had to go to work. So they would go for 1 month and then they would go home for 2 months. So there was this 3 month sort of rotation. Every 3 months they would have to go back. So Rabbi Yochanan says the same thing. You go to yeshiva for 1 month and you go home for 2 months. Rav Nami my time Malayamar Mahi. Why doesn't Rav say like Rabbi Yochanan says, 2 months at home? Says Shani Binyan Beis Hamikdash Tefshal Yedei Acherim. That you could get other people. There were enough people there. They didn't need to go for 1 month in, 1 month out. They could go for 1 month and then 2 months out of the work. 2 months back at home. They had more people. It wasn't necessary. But I guess for learning Torah, what do you mean? Someone's going to replace you in learning Torah? So no, you have to go only stay home for 1 month and go right away back. Rabbi Yochanan, my time of why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan say every other month? Why did Rabbi Yochanan say 1 month here and 2 months at home? They have a pasuk that says that it was every other month. Turns out Rashi says the pasuk doesn't really say that. But that's what we're learning. Shani Hasam de Islay Harvacha. Rabbi Yochanan would hold that over there they were getting paid by David HaMelech, and so therefore the wife was happy. He's going to work. He's sending home money. There's income. He goes to yeshiva. Doesn't say he doesn't have any income. It wasn't like the kailos. I don't know if the kailos have them really, if it's considered income anyway. But I guess it depends where. So, but the wife would say, okay, you can go away for every other month, because it was to her benefit that she gets sent home money that she can spend.
So she's anti-Torah. Sense.
No.
Anti-learning.
No. she's willing to let him go every other month.
Work.
No, to study.
Oh, because he is working.
Because he's sending. No, 1 second. When it came to the work,
Right.
she's willing to let him go. You're right. Willing to let him go because he's sending home money. When it comes to learning, he has to be home for 2 months.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So why isn't she a 3-month person that says stay home and don't worry about the money? And then Rabbi keep it.
Oh, so 1 second, we'll get to that. Here we're saying that she's giving permission, and nevertheless, this is what he should do, because what she's really has in her heart. She's saying yes, but the question is, what's the correct thing to do? Okay, once we mentioned that there's a machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, so now we say, Amar Rav, Hanacha sheveres chatzi gufi shel adam. Someone makes a sigh. Yeah, demonstration. So that breaks half a person's body. Shenem avata ben adam, in Yecheskel, Hanach b'shivrin masnayim, b'miras tenach. Sigh with broken loins and with bitterness. Sigh. So I guess the loins is the midpoint of the body. So it breaks half the body. B'shivrin masnayim, with the breaking of the loins. Rabbi Yochanan amraf kol gufi shel adam. Rabbi Yochanan says no. A sigh breaks the entire body. And they will say to you, what are you sighing about? It's because of the report that I heard. And all the hearts will melt, and all the hands will get weak. And all the spirit will be dimmed. And on all the knees water will flow. Rabbi Yochanan Nami Aksiv B'Shiv Masnaim. Why does Rabbi Yochanan say that it breaks the entire body? And we have a pasuk that says it breaks half the body. It says Ahi Dechi Metachla Mi Masnaim Metachla. Maschala probably. What it means is that it begins from the loins, but it ends up breaking the whole body. It's a machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. We mentioned Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, we have another Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. What about Rav? It says that the entire body is broken. It says Shani Shmo the Beis Hamikdash the Tuba. That's a different story. That it's the rumor about it's the report about the Beis Hamikdash being destroyed. That's a different story. So that it breaks the entire body. The Tosfos mentions that doesn't fit perfectly with the contrast to the psukim, because they're both talking about the Beis Hamikdash. Anyway, Hahu Yisrael v'Avid Kechavim David Kazli Borcha. There was a Jew and a non-Jew that were going on the road, Dadi Adadi, together. The non-Jew was not able to keep up with the pace of the Jewish person. He's walking faster than he can keep up. So Ad Karei Churban, the Gentile, right? Ad Karei Churban Beis Hamikdash. So the Gentile shouts out, the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. He's trying to slow him down. So you should keep up with him. So he tells him something sad. He should sigh, because we said when someone sighs, it breaks the body, so he'll get weaker, and then he'll be able to walk at the same pace. So Nagid, Ve'isnach, he groaned and he sighed. But the Jew was still walking fast. The non-Jew couldn't keep up with him. The non-Jew quotes the statement of Rav. Don't you say that when you sigh, it breaks half the body? Why are you still walking so fast? That's only if it's a new report. A report about something sad that happened recently. But this verse already used to it. But something that we're used to, it doesn't break the body. The Amri Yinshi, people say, the Malfi Tichli Leibasa, that a woman that loses her children, so she doesn't get basa, she doesn't get totally what does it say, panicked. because she already lost her one child. So then if she loses another child, she's already used to it. So she doesn't panic the same way. That's what we're saying about the Beis Hamikdash, that time already went by, and so it doesn't have the same effect.
That's a problem, though. No? That's not ideal, right?
Yeah, it's explaining the question. It's answering the question. It's not saying, how good the situation is, though.
But he still didn't slow down.
He didn't slow down.
On the work thing before, in America, when you work 50 weeks and then you get 2 weeks vacation, study time, so that's the considered generous.
At the same time, I'm sorry. Month. There's 2 months out of the year, but there's also a work day. Oh, well, they worked from sunrise to sunset. That was probably the work. So yeah, we have like this 9 to 5 or something. So it's different. You can study in the morning and study at night.
5:30.
There was 5:30. There was a rabbi in Rhode Island. He moved to California after his name was Rabbi Drazen. Anyway, so I would visit him in California. He would quote this Gemara. He would explain the Akedah. And it says that Yitzchak says to his father, where's Ayeh Yasel Laila? Where's the sheep for the? So he says,
God will provide.
Yeah, Hashem. So it says Vayelchu Shneim Yachdav, that they walk together.
Right.
He's saying that even though Yitzchak already understood that he was going to be the Oila, but they still were able to walk at the same pace, based on this Gemara. That should have slowed him down, because he just heard that he's going to be the sacrifice. He says it by both. It says Vayelchu Shneim Yachdav twice. Each one he had a comment that
No, the same
it
is
would have
true
either slowed down Avram or slowed down Yitzchak.
Same is also true with Moshe going to defeat the Midianites. Also, he's told that he's going to pass away
right,
after.
Right.
Reasons.
Okay. Hatayalim b'chol yom. Talking about the obligations that a man has to his wife. It says, how often is that obligation for relations? So it says a tayalim every day. It says, my tayalim. Well, who are the tayalim? Amarava b'nei Pirkei. B'nei Pirkei sounds like the yeshiva students. Well, Amalei Abaya is a little surprised about this. He says, "My man deksiv behu, shav lechem mashkimikum me'achrei sheva seichli lechem atzavim, kein yitin liyadidei shena." It says, it's in vain, those of you that wake up early, those that, is it a question? Is it in vain? I'm not sure how to read it. The words are, it's in vain those that wake up early, that delay laying down. They eat the bread of the atzavim, sounds like the sad ones. King yitin liyadidei shena, so he should give to his beloved sleep. And the explanation for this pasuk, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Elon Shisem shal Talmidei Chacham shemenades shinem meineim b'elam hazeh b'yis l'chayim haba. This is talking about the wives of the Talmidei Chachamim, that they have to stay up late to waiting for their husbands to come home, and in this world, and they come to the world to come. I guess that means Kain Yitin Liyadei Shena, that the world to come, that's where they'll have the benefits. Va'atei meres b'nei Pirkei, and you're telling me that the men are going to be with their wives. They're exhausted. You see what's going on, the way it's described over here. Elamar Abaya Kidarav. Abaya says, rather, the pshat is like Rav says. Damarav Kigain Rav Shmuel bar Shelas gives an example of a fellow that was just a teacher. He had a leisure life. I mean, we'll see, and when we get to Baba Basra, but his learning went. He never had a day of vacation and whatever. But what was so easy? It says the achal mididei, he ate from his own food. B'shasi mididei, he drank from his own drink. V'gani betula da padna, and he lived in the shade of his house, palace. V'lecholef pristika de malka above, and he never had the police coming to collect taxes from his house because he never looked like he was wealthy. So yeah, he would get income. I guess what this means is that he had like a tax-free income that the students, the parents, I guess, would pay him, and he would just teach the students. He would just teach them, and that was considered like a leisurely life. So for him, he had an obligation to his wife every day, every night. Well, Kiyasa Ravin said, "Gain mafanki the marava, mafanki the marava." It's those what's the translation from mafanki? Pampered people from the Eretz Yisrael.
It's funky, the word English. Is that an ordinary word? Have you had that before?
Yeah, mafunik means like very particular, that you have the ability to be particular. I like this, that's a mafunik.
Mafunik is like to pamper.
Oh, here, yeah, they translate mafunik as pampered, but the professor says it means funky.
Oh,
Okay. Rabavo Havi Koi Beibani. Rabavo is in the bathhouse. Havi Samchale Trey Abdi, he's being supported by two servants. Ifchas Beibani Mituse. Sounds very dangerous. The bathhouse, the floor collapsed. Isramile Amuda. He grabs onto one of the pillars that was still standing. Salak, he pulls himself up. Baskinu, and he pulls his two workers up, his two helpers, two slaves. Rabbi Yechon was walking on steps. Avisamchle Ravami Ravasi is being supported by Ravami and Ravasi. If Chasei Darga Tuse, the step collapsed.
This rubber bubble,
Yeah, he's younger than Rab.
because he's in Caesarea, we previously learned about the heating system
Oh,
for beneath the mikvah.
Yeah. Was that something specifically in Caesarea? No.
No, but that's where we. Were
Oh, they had the Roman, right,
But that was a.
Right.
so that we-
right.
that's where we-
Probably had the
Icelandic ones.
the
The Japan
Icelandic.
ones.
No, they in Rome they would have
Here's a picture.
like a second floor,
Uh-huh.
and they would make a fire under the entire stone, under the whole bath. It would heat the whole thing up.
Here's the collapsed one. They take that picture.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice picture.
found it.
Wow.
Picture.
Maybe they reconstructed it.
It's in Masada.
Yeah, they say the
Oh,
column
wow.
and
Yeah.
the collapse.
You go on tours.
They must have been walking on here and it collapsed.
Right. So yeah, there's a Gemara Shabbos. I forget where the Gemara is. Someone is giving advice: never use a bathhouse when it's brand new. You don't know if it's going to last because it could burst because the heat it's not used to it. An older bathhouse they considered it safer because not if it's too old. Okay, so if Chastaga, the step breaks, Salak, he pulls himself up. Vaskinu, and he pulls up his helpers, which is Ravami and Ravasi. Amali Rabbanon, so the rabbis tell him, if this is the case that you're so strong, why do they need to support you for? I'm saving my strength for when I'm old. I didn't realize it works like that. I didn't know that you can reserve strength, that that's how it works. I don't know. Okay.
Maybe it's a metaphor or something. Maybe it's.
Must be something else. It sounds to me, like the I think the whales, they eat like every 6 months. Yeah, it takes 6 months. They have to they go without food. So they just glide through the water without any energy. They can't use up any energy. It's
That sounds similar like the bear and the tiger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm saving my energy for when I retire.
Yeah. Okay, but Peilim Stein B'Shabbos says workers, their obligation to the wife is twice a week. But Tanya, Paila Machas B'Shabbos, what are you talking about? It says we have a brisa that says once a week. Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina like Kasha, come by some malachim beer and come by some malachim beer. It depends. What it mean? What does it mean a worker? Does it mean they're in the same city, or they're going to work in a city nearby? If they have to leave the city, then it's once a week. If they are working in the same city, they don't have to travel, they don't have to commute. So then it's twice a week. Tanya Namiacha, Pelim Stein B'Shabbos. Workers are twice a week. That's only if they're working in their city. We actually have a brisa that spells this out, that it depends if they have to commute to their work. The donkey drivers are once a week. Amalei Rabba bar Rav Chanan Labaya. Rabba bar Rav Chanan says to Abaya, Ichbel Tana Lashmin and Tayel Upayel. You see, what happened over here in the Mishnah was we said that if a man prohibits, he takes a vow that he won't have benefit from his wife, won't have enjoyment from his wife. So then after 1 week, according to Beis Hillel, or if he takes the vow for 1 week, he won't have benefit. So, or more than 1 week, then that's grounds for a divorce. She can say, okay, I don't want him, and that he'll have to give her a divorce. I don't want this arrangement. Now, turns out that more than a week, almost everyone does not have the obligation to be with their wife more than once a week. So we're talking about all these other people of the donkey driver and the who else was in here? The workers are twice a week, but right. So really, you're just talking about these workers in the Tayolim. That's what this whole Mishnah was about. The grounds for divorce was only for those two categories. Amalei, he says to him, Loi. No, it's actually talking about everyone. Akulu, talking about everyone. On top of Samach Beis Amid Beis. Where it says Vashisha Chadashim Kamar, how could it be everyone? We have the sailors, but they don't have to be with their wives until 6 months, right? Because they're in long journeys. Where it says, well, it's different when someone takes a vow, because it's different. When someone takes a vow, then that's already problematic. If they don't take a vow, and they can always hope that maybe they'll come home early. Maybe the journey will be quick. They don't know. But now that there's a vow, so that becomes a problem. Amalei Rabba bar Rav Chanan Labaya. Rabba bar Rav Chanan asks Abaya. That was who we had before, right? Rabba bar Rav Chanan says, Chamar v'nasa gamal mai. Let's say a husband wants to change his job. If he changes his job, he's going to change this frequency with his wife, because he wants to become a camel driver. Camel driver is he's only going to be home once a month.
It's like a long distance trucker.
Right.
For example, a vow is that he chooses, and then that his job is complete. They have no choice. Like if the singer goes like on 6 month trips, like even if he wants to go with his wife every week, that's not
Right.
possible.
Right. Question is, when she married him, she had certain expectations. Now he's trying to switch that on her. He's switching the job. So is he allowed to do that? And maybe he's claiming that, well, we need this for Parnasa, I have to take on this job. Amalei, so Abaya responded, right? A person would rather be poor, but to have her husband together than to be rich and to be separated from her husband. That's the expression he uses here. Yeah.
So he can't change without his wife's permission.
Right.
Is that halakha? Oh, he did not halakha.
Yeah, but it's something that needs to be
Yes.
it's definitely addressed. This okay. Hasapanim achas l'shisha chadashim. Sailors would only be with their wife once every 6 months. Divri Rebbe Lezer. That is what Rebbe Lezer says. Actually, Rebbe Lezer is the entire Mishnah. That's what it seems. Amar Rav Bruna, Amar Rav Halachik Rebbe Lezer. Rav Bruna I have a lot of things going on over here, and my Gemara stars going everywhere. Like footnotes. I'm not sure what they're telling me. If it's Rav Masna or maybe it's Rava. No, it's Rav Masna, maybe Amar Rava. Whatever the case is, someone says that the Allah is like Rabbi Lezer. Amar Vada Barava, Amar Rav Zudiv Rabbi Lezer, Rav Chamer Matamidim Yitzim, the Talmud Torah Beis V'Gimel Shanim B'Shlei B'Shus. However, we do have another opinion here. The opinion of Rav Vada Barava says, I know what the Mishnah says. That's only one view. We have another view. The sages, they say that the students are allowed to go away to yeshiva for 2 or 3 years without permission from their wives. Amar Rava says, Samchu Rabbanan Ad Ravada Barava Vavdi Uvda Benafshayo. There are rabbis or students that relied on Ravada Barava, so it's very interesting if he would be the one that's arguing. Vavdi Uvda Benafshayo, and they lost their souls because of it. Because they weren't considerate of their wives. Because they left for too long. They died. Yeah. Kiyada Rav Rechume, just like Rav Rechume, Havishchiach Kamei de Rava b'Mechuza. Some more stars over here. He was frequent in front of Rava in Mechuza. Haviragel, it was common for him. Davyasi lebesi kol mala yom de Kippuri. Here it doesn't mean that. Okay, let's see. He would.
We have a easy solving the problems called divorce. I didn't understand if he died.
Let's take a look. Yom Echad, he would have the asila basic kol mali yom kippur. He would come home every erev Yom Kippur. Yom Echad, he would spend a year away. Yom Echad, one time, I guess, one erev Yom Kippur. Mashchasei Shmaita, he got involved in his learning. Havimaskid the besu, his wife was waiting. Hashta asi, he's coming now. I guess like looking out the window, where's he coming? When's he gonna come? Lo yasi doesn't come. Cholash daita. She started to feel bad. Achis dimasa me'ena, a tear came out of her eye. Haviyasev be'igra, at that time he was sitting on a roof. Afchas igra mituse v'nach nafshe. The roof collapsed and he died. Yeah. Okay. How often is the obligation of a Talmud Chacham to his wife? Amar Rav Yehuda Mashmul me'erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. Friday night to Friday night. Asher pirya yitim bita, that he gives this fruit in its time. Amar Rav Yehuda v'itemer Rav Huna v'itemer Rav Nachman. Zeh mashamash mitasim erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos is someone that has relations with his wife Friday night. From Friday night to Friday night. That's considered the correct time. Yehuda Brei de Rab Chia, Chasnei de Rab Yanai. Yehuda, Rab Chia's son, is the son-in-law of Rab Yanai. Okay, Rab Chia's son marries Rab Yanai's daughter. Haviyazel v'yasev b'beis Rav. He would go to the yeshiva. V'chol beis Shimshei haviyazel l'beisei. What is beis Shimshei? Every Friday night? I guess so. Does it say every Friday night he would come home? V'chi haviyasi. And when he came, Habikachazi Kamei Amuda Denura. I'm not sure if that means he saw or she saw.
Rabbi Yana would see.
Rabbi Yanai would see. Oh wow. Okay. So it's he saw, but it's not talking about the Yehuda, it's talking about the father-in-law. So he would see a pillar of fire coming in front of him. Yom Echad, one day, Mashchei Shmaiti got involved in his studies because he didn't see the time, and Kimun de lechazeu simana. Rabbi Yanai doesn't see the pillar of fire coming. Amlu Rabbi Yanai kafam mitasei. It says turn over the beds. That says it's like tear the clothing. You have to mourn. Shall mali the kaim lebitali nase. If Yehuda was still alive, he never would have missed the time to be with his wife. That was like a mistaken statement that comes from the ruler, Benach Nafshe, and the son-in-law died. Rabbi Yasik Leila
So he died not because he got engrossed, but because
of a comment, right?
father-in-law.
Yeah, we've had this before. We've had that before. Maybe in this Masech even.
Isn't this contradicting the earlier part where it says that men of leisure had it on every day? Like those were the Torah people that
Yeah,
studied
that was
Torah.
the students, but then Abaya rejected that, and it said it
Ah.
would only be the Shmuel Bar Shelas type of teacher,
Okay.
the tax-free income. Rebbe Yasikle Lebre Be Reb Chia. Rebbe wants his son to marry Reb Chia's daughter. Chia is a student. Kimata lemichtav ksuba, when they're coming to write the document, nach nafshe de Rebisa. Chia's daughter passed away. Is that why people pass away?
I don't know with this thing, maybe somebody cried inappropriately.
Amar Rebbe says, Chas v'shalom psulika. Maybe there's something that's not correct over here. Yesiva v'aynu b'mishpachis, they started to look into the families. Rebbe Yossi Mishfatia ben Avital. Rebbe comes from one of the wives of David HaMelech, Avital. And Reb Chia Yossi Mishimi Achi David. Reb Chia comes from David HaMelech's brother. So two pshatim over here. Either that means that's a perfect match, or it means that's not a good match because one comes directly, or one different pshatim. So what happens now is Azal Yasikli Lebrei Bei Reb Yossi ben Zimra. Because they were related in the last.
No, in the child.
So he goes to marry. He's going to set up his son with the daughter for Yossi ben Zimra. Yossi ben Zimra is quoted in Pirkei Avos in the 6th chapter, right? Paskale tarte srei shnin lemezal beirav. They gave him. It's interesting because Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra was the one. No, that was Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma. That was Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra. That was Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma. I'm sorry. Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra. I guess it must be either a last generation Amira or a last generation Tana or a first generation Amira. Well, they gave him 12 years that he can go study. Kailo. Achafua kamei. But the girl walked in front of Rebbe's son. Amalahu nevi shishnin. I'm just going to go for 6 years. He liked her. He didn't want to go away for 12 years. Achafua kamei. They brought her in front of him again. Amalu ichnes v'hader. Let's first get married and then I'll go. So Havi kamachsef miavu is now ashamed in front of his father that I guess he loves her and he wants to get married first. Amalei b'ni das kind of cheshbach. Rebbe says, don't be ashamed. You have the same thing like the Eibishter. Mikaraksiv to the aim of v'sitemai. I'll bring you into the land and we'll build a base of Mikdash. And then Hashem says that let's build a base of Mikdash. Let's build a Mishkan already here in the desert. It was like the impatient. You have to get this started. Azal Yosef Tartis Rishnin, the Beirav.
And the Jewish people said that pasuk though. It's in
Yeah.
Shir Sayam.
Right. But I guess it's considered prophecy.
Okay.
So, well, he goes for 12 years. Ad the Asiyaka the base. By the time he comes home, his wife becomes barren, becomes I guess sterile. Amar Rebbe Hechinavad. Rebbe says, what should we do? Nigrusha, if he divorces her, Yemra Aniyazu Lashav Shimra. Say this poor girl, she waited for nothing. Ninsev Itzachriti, if he's going to marry another wife, Yemra Zu Ishtevazu Zanase. Say this is his wife and this is his mistress. He davened for Vitzias and she got healed. Yeah, that's how the stories are supposed to end.
I would end there. More
Happily ever after. Okay. Rab Chanina ben Chachinai Havikaza lebei Rav. Rab Chanina ben Chachinai. Where do we have that? Rab Chanina ben Chachinai. Where's that familiar from?
It says it was the last generation.
Last generation of the Tanakh. Rab Chanina ben Chachinai was going to the house of Rav. And that doesn't have to mean the house of Rav. It means to the yeshiva. Bei Rav means the house of the teacher. It means the yeshiva. B'shili hilula de Reb Shimon bar Yochai. This was right after the wedding of Reb Shimon bar Yochai. Do you have the passing or the wedding? They call it the passing, but I think in the Gemara it means the wedding. What did they say over there? It has to be the wedding. You'll see from the story. Huh? It's got to be the wedding. You'll see in the story. Amalei Yaakov li adasi ba'adach. Reb Shimon bar Yochai says, wait for my Sheva bracha stand. I'll go with you. Le Yaakov le. He doesn't wait for him. Azal Yosef Trey Shni bevei Rav. He goes and he learns for 12 years. Ad Yasi, when he comes home, the streets of his town have changed. He doesn't know how to get home. Doesn't know where his house is.
construction.
Right? Also, Yosef Aguda Dinar, he goes, he sits at the edge of the river. Shamalu Ravisa, Lahahi Ravisa, Davikarli, Bas Chachinai, Malik Kulsech, V'tanezel. He heard someone saying, daughter of Chachinai, fill up your Kulsech, maybe means like a bucket or something. And then, and go. Take it and go. Well, he says, Amar Shmaminai Ravisa Didan. He says, that must be our daughter. Because he hears them saying Bas Chachinai. He's Rabbi Hanania ben Chachinai, calling him by his grandfather, by her grandfather. Well, Ozil Basrei, he follows her. Havi Yasiva de Bisu, Kanali Kimcha. His wife is sitting and sifting flour. Dalene, she lifts up her eyes. Chazise, she sees him. Savi Liba. I'm not sure translate Savi Liba. Something happens to her. She gets like so heart flutters. Parach rucha, and she passed away. She drops dead. Yeah. I guess Savi Liba is like a heart attack. Amar lefan of Rabbeinu Shalom says to Hashem, Master of the world, Aniyazu Zeschara. This poor woman, this is her reward. I went away 12 years, come back, and then she passes away. Davened for her, and she came back to life. Rabbi Chama Bar Bisa. Azal Yosef Treshni B'Bei Midrasha. Rabbi Chama Bar Bisa went for 12 years to learn. Kiyasa, when he came back, Amar Layabit Kedavid Ben Chachinai. Says, I'm not going to do what Ben Chachinai did. That was dangerous. It was a surprise. Ayel Yosef Ben Midrasha. He went to sit in the base medrash. Shalach lebeise. He sent, I guess, a message to his house. Is that what it means? Shalach lebeise. Yeah, he sent a message. Also, Rabbi Shibra Yosef Chames, Rabbi Shia, his son, the son of Rabbi Chama, comes and he sits in front of him. Havi Kamash Shmaita. Starts asking questions. Chazi the Kamaschadi Shmaita. He sees this fellow, this Rabbi Shia, is quite sharp. Cholash Daite. He didn't introduce himself. So the son is quite sharp. Cholash Daite, the father starts to feel bad. Reb Chama starts to feel bad. Omar, he says, Yavi Hacha, Havali Zeraki Hai. If I would have stayed home, I would have had a child like this. I would have taught him and we would learn together. He doesn't know it's his son. Al Lebese, he goes to home. Al Brei, the son comes home. Kamei. So Rav Chamas stands up. The son walked in. It was, well, he didn't know it's his son. He just sees like a Talmud Chacham walked in. Who's Savar? L'mishlei Shmaita Kabai. He thinks he's coming to ask him a question. So Amralei the Bisu, his wife says, Miyaka Abba the Kam Kamei Bra. Is that how it is? Our fathers stand up for sons? Kariel Rami Barchama. Oh, Rami Barchama says about this. This is not. He says Chuta Mashol Shlei Beheir Yunatik. A knot that's threefold knot. It's right. Leibim Heira. It's not a knot. It's a string with a cord, threefold cord. Leibim Heira Yunatik does not break quickly. Zer Rabbeishia b'nei Sholchama bar Bisa. I guess Rabbeishia, Rab Chama, and Bisa. Those were all Talmidei Chachamim. It doesn't go away. Okay. Story time. Rabbi Akiva, Raya the Ben Kalba Savua, Haba. Rabbi Akiva is the shepherd of Kalba Savua. Chazisi Brate the Havitzinio Mali. He sees the daughter of Kalba Savua that's very modest and nice. Amrale, she said to him, if I agree to marry you, Azlas Labei Rav, will you go to the yeshiva? Amrale, and he said, yeah. He got married quietly, Bitzina, and he sent her, and she sent him to yeshiva. Yeah, it's just a betrothal. Ikdish, yeah. And she sent him away. Shama Avua, the father hears Afkami basically throws her out of the house.
He throws
The daughter out of the house. Adranami Nichse, and he makes a vow that she can't have benefit from his possessions.
his inheritance.
Right. Ezel Yosef Trace Snin Bebe Rav. He's spending 12 years in the yeshiva. Kiyasa, when he comes home, Aisibade Trace Alfi Talmida, he already has 12,000 students. Shamilu Saba, he hears this older man. I thought it was an older woman in the story. It's an older man. What do they have over there? An old man. The Kamala that says to his wife, Ad kamaka medabras almanas chayim. How long are you going to behave? Medabras means behave. Almanas chayim, a living widow. In other words, without a husband. Armalei, she said to him, Ila diditzayas, if he would listen to me, Yosef Trace Shnei Achrini, you should go and spend another 12 years. Amar B'Shuskavin, he says, I have permission. Hadar Azel, Yosef Trace Shnei Achrini, Bebei Rav, goes for another 12 years. Yeah. Kiyasa, it's so famous, we should skip it, right? So, Kiyasa, when he comes back, I see by the Esrin Varba Alfi Talmide. He brings with him 24,000 students. Shama de Bisu, his wife hears, have a kanafka lape. She goes out to him. Amarle Shivivta. The neighbor says, Shali mani levush v'ichse. Shili mani levush v'ichse. And that means you should borrow clothing and get dressed up. Amarlahu yedei tzadik nefesh b'emti. Says the tzaddik knows the soul of his animal. I guess he'll recognize me the way I am. I guess. Kimata legabe, when she comes to him, nafla lapa, she falls on the ground. Kamanashkale lekare, she's kissing his kara is the lower leg, right? Kara is the leg, right? Kissed his feet. Havikam madchvale shame, the his assistant is pushing her away. Amalahu, he says to them, Shavku, leave her. Shaliva shalachem shalahu. Everything that's mine and everything that's yours is hers. Okay. Shamavu adasa gavaraba. The father hears that a great man is coming, Lamasa, to the town. Amreza lagabe. Let me go to him. After the Mefer Nidri, maybe he'll get rid of my vow. He'll annul my vow that he took about the daughter. He also doesn't know that it's him. Asa legabe comes to him. Amalei adaita the gav rabba min adaita. If you would have known that he's going to be, or that he's going to be, I guess, a great man, would you have taken the vow? Amalei afilu perak echad afilu halacha achas. Even if he would have known one chapter or one halacha, I wouldn't have taken the vow. Amalei anahu says it's me. Nafal alape. He falls on the ground. V'nashki al kari, kissed him on his feet. The Yovla Palga Memaine gives him half of his money. Rate de Rabbi Akiva Avdalei Ben Azai Hachi. The daughter of Rabbi Akiva did the same for Ben Azai. Apparently, Ben Azai wasn't a scholar, and I guess she said, "If you go to study, then I'll marry you." I think we have that Ben Azai wasn't married, so maybe this didn't work out at the end. But whatever the case is, he went to learn. Right? He says, "Nafshi." Who said "Nafshi chashka b'Torah"? I think it's Ben Azai. Ben Azai said, "I know what the halach is. That person has to get married, but what should I do? I want to study." Well, V'haina damri inshi. That's what we say. Rechela basar rechela azla. A sheep goes after a sheep. It's funny because we have a tradition. Her name is Rachel. Anyway, ka'ov de'ima kachav de'brita, like mother, like daughter. Okay. Rav Yosef prayed to Rava Shadrei Avue Lebei Rav Lekamei Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef, the son of Rava, his father sends him to yeshiva in front of Rav Yosef. Paskalei Shishni. They made up that he's going to go for 6 years. Kavi Klashni, when it was 3 years. Matamala Yom Kippur. It comes to the night of Yom Kippur. And Amar Ezel Vachsin Alin Shebeis. Let me go see my family. Shama Avua, the father hears that he's coming. Shakal Mana, he takes a weapon, Benafa Klape, and he goes out to greet him. Amalei, Sunsach Niskarta, you remembered your mistress or something. Ikadamri Amalei, Yenasa Niskarta, you remembered your dove. Itrid. They got so involved in this fight, arguing, you should go back to yeshiva or go home. Leimar ifsik. This one didn't prepare for the fast, and this one didn't prepare for the fast. They didn't have a sudam apsekas.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, let's leave it over here.
Wow.
That's a good thing.
There's a lot of potatoes.
You just leave it there.
Rabbi, how could Rabbi Akiva be mater the neder of his father-in-law if he was so financially involved himself in it?
Wow.
That was my question also. Daniel and me have the same question.
Yeah, that happens to be my question too. So Daniel, you're on the money. Have a good day.